for the last 5 years, there has been massive welfare fraud in the great state of Minnesota. Over $1 billion of American taxpayer money has been stolen. Just stolen. They can call it fraud, but a better term would be stealing. It is a fact that this $1 billion in welfare fraud occurred almost exclusively in the Somali community in Minnesota and was orchestrated by people with Somali ancestry. That's a fact. Facts aren't racist. Facts are facts.
On the heels of Minnesota's ongoing social services fraud scandal, a whistleblower is exposing a similar scheme in Ohio. Mehek Cook, an Ohio attorney and conservative commentator, told Fox News Digital that Minnesota was just the tip of the spear. Minnesota is currently facing one of the largest social services fraud scandals in U.S. history, involving Somali-run nonprofits that siphoned hundreds of millions from child nutrition and Medicaid housing programs. Over 70 defendants have been charged, with dozens convicted, as federal and state investigations continue. Experts cite declining assimilation and fear of being labeled racist as factors that allowed the schemes to go unchecked. Earlier, Senator Kennedy went on a rampage against Minnesota over a $1 billion Somali fraud scheme, explaining what was happening.
What I'm about to tell you, Mr. President, let me apologize in advance, is deeply disgusting. It's deeply disgusting. I mean, it is clown world on steroids. And when I first read about this, Mr. President, I read it a second time because I experienced slack-jawed astonishment. And when I read it a second time and I realized it was true, I just wanted to run away screaming. What am I talking about, Mr. President? We have discovered, the federal prosecutors have discovered, that for the last 5 years, there has been massive welfare fraud in the great state of Minnesota. Massive. Over $1 billion of American taxpayer money has been stolen. Just stolen. They can call it fraud, but a better term would be stealing. And this fraud has been centered in the Somali community in Minnesota. Now, I'm not here to criticize the Somali community. I'm here simply to describe what happened. The Somali community in Minneapolis is about 80,000 people. They're centered around Minneapolis. And let me say it again. I'm not here to denigrate the Somali people or people of Somali ancestry just because of the actions of a few. But it is a fact that this $1 billion in welfare fraud occurred almost exclusively in the Somali community in Minnesota and was orchestrated by people with Somali ancestry. That's a fact. Facts aren't racist. Facts are facts. So far, 59 people have been convicted, 86 have been charged, and 78 of them are of Somali ancestry. That's just a fact.
The fraud in Ohio's Somali community dates back over a decade and totals millions in stolen taxpayer dollars. Cook claims providers have confided that they were pressured to join a massive Medicaid fraud scheme. The scheme allegedly involves doctors rubber stamping home healthcare payouts for fake medical conditions. Payments are directed to family members of elderly individuals who are supposedly receiving care. Under the Ohio Medicaid program, these payments can total as much as $91,000 per year per individual. Many Medicaid claims are being approved despite patients clearly not needing care, as evidenced by their active appearances on social media. The problem lies with a few individuals exploiting Ohio's Medicaid system, not the Somali community as a whole, taking advantage of weaknesses in the program. Cook further explained how the loopholes work.
They're just rubber stamping a lot of these. And then that same individual a week later, that's supposed to be bedridden, is all over social media, whether they're out dancing at a party or something like that. So the symptoms aren't really adding up at the end of the day. The problem today is not the community. It's actually the criminals within the Somalian community that have exploited Ohio's Medicaid program because we have a system right now that's one of the easiest in the Midwest to game. Say I want to take care of my elderly, aging parents at some point. I can become a home health provider. And this is where the Somali community has been really clever. They've been able to find loopholes in Ohio law to provide for care for family members, even when they don't need it.
She added that providers who came forward did so at great personal risk, warning they could be stoned to death if exposed. Ohio's Medicaid system is supposed to be monitored to ensure funds are used correctly and programs are properly managed. However, independent assessments and oversight are lacking, allowing the system to be exploited. Cook further revealed that, according to community insiders, 99% of individuals receiving home healthcare Medicaid benefits have been coached and do not actually qualify. Cook drew a direct comparison to Minnesota's scandal. What we're seeing in Minneapolis is just a snippet of what's happening in Ohio. Cook clarified that the fraud is not about race or the Somali community, but about criminals exploiting the system. She emphasized that Ohio's Medicaid waiver was designed to help those in need, but it is being abused. However, she called for stronger oversight and audits in Ohio and other states to protect taxpayers and prevent misuse of funds.
I know that everybody wants to make this a Somali issue or a race issue. It's not. Our waiver system in Ohio was built with compassion. It was built to really help individuals that are struggling and in need, but it's being looted today. I think every state, in addition to Ohio, should be asking for audits of their Medicaid system and their programs, she said, adding, "At the end of the day, Ohio taxpayers are hurting, the American people are hurting, and we don't have enough tax dollars."
As the Ohio scandal unfolds, it will be interesting to see how the Trump administration responds. In the meantime, here's what Trump has said about Somalians and Minnesota.
Biden and the radical left Democrats turned Pennsylvania into a dumping ground for hundreds of thousands of migrants from the most dysfunctional places on earth, like Somalia, and gave them billions and billions of your taxpayer dollar. But we didn't really give it. It was stolen. And those people should go to jail. We also announced a permanent pause on third world migration, including from hellholes like Afghanistan, Haiti, Somalia, and many other countries. I didn't say shithole, you did. Remember I said that to the senators, they came in, the Democrats. They wanted to be bipartisan. So they came in and they said, this is totally off the record. Nothing mentioned here. We want to be honest because our country was going to hell. And we had a meeting. And I say, why is it we only take people from shithole countries, right? Why can't we have some people from Norway, Sweden, just a few? Let us have a few. From Denmark, do you mind sending us a few people? Send us some nice people, do you mind? But we always take people from Somalia, places that are a disaster, right? Filthy, dirty, disgusting, ridden with crime. The only thing they're good at is going after ships. But they don't go after our ships. You know why? Because that same missile that knocks the crap out of them, that with the drug dealers from from Venezuela and others. That same missile, think of it, from hundreds of miles away, we have the greatest military, we have the greatest equipment, we make the greatest equipment in the world. I bought more equipment. We rebuilt the military in the first term. Then Stupid Joe gave a lot of it to Afghanistan, but it was a lot, but relatively little. But we're still adding to it a lot. But I'll tell you what, I'm looking at this big tough guy with the red hat on. I like that guy. But stand up, let me just see what you look like. Nobody's going to mess with him. Okay. He's central casting. Thank you very much. Very good. I see he's enjoying it. I like people that enjoy things because you got to smile about this whole thing. But that same missile system that hits the center of everyone. Remember, every boat that gets hit, we don't want to do that, but every boat that gets hit, we save 25,000 American lives. Every boat. And when you view it that way, you don't mind. But we have that same system aimed at Somalia, and if they go and want to raid our ships, and not our ships, worldwide shipping, they used to go and take the ships. When one or two of them get hit, they say, we'll pass. So we've cut down drugs, 94% coming in from sea. 94, right? 94%, Muser. 94%, Muser. That's pretty good.